We're here with Nicholas, and we're talking business formations and operating agreements.
That's
and
right.
you guys get involved in that, and you help folks do the best job of that they can, right?
Exactly.
Tell us about that, about what people have to think about.
Yes, well, when it comes to formation, essentially that is getting your entity, getting the tax ID, possibly getting a bank account, and then getting a partnership agreement. And that could be an operating agreement, that could be a shareholder agreement, partnership. And when it comes to the formation, there's LLCs, S Corps, C Corps, there's nonprofits. These are simply entities that are conducting commercial activities, or in the sense of nonprofit, charitable activities. And there's a legal designation and there's a tax designation. And so we help clients to get that filing with the state, so the entity is formed. And then we help the clients get the tax ID number, the EIN, with the IRS. And once you have your entity and your tax ID, you're formed. We'll also help clients with the appropriate business bank account, and now money can start flowing. And then finally, when it comes to the operating agreement, that is the agreement between the partners, and generally it's who owns what percent, how much is being contributed, who's doing what. And that's that formal document that creates the governance, that creates that partnership, that once you have the entity filed, tax ID, the bank, and the partnership agreement, you're formed.
You're in business. And can you give maybe just an overview of what would be the strategies behind this type of an LLC versus this type of formation?
Yeah, great question. Generally speaking, LLCs are the way to go up until a certain amount of complexity. When we achieve a certain amount of complexity, we might want to consider a C Corp. And there's double taxation there, versus LLC is pass-through taxation. So it might be a question with your accountant, what might be the best tax strategy. Usually when clients are coming to us for C Corps, they have investors. They have shareholders. There's a level of sophistication. We're talking, they're starting with millions of dollars. When it comes to LLCs, you don't need a single dime. And you could be a real estate investor who just buying, selling a property, you put the property in the LLC. You could be a business owner and you're providing a product or a service, and you do that in the LLC. And then once you have your LLC, you can elect to be taxed as an S Corp. And again, that's generally a question for an accountant, but usually the rule of thumb is once the LLC is making more than 50, 60, 70,000 in a year, it usually makes sense from a numbers perspective and a tax perspective to elect to file as an S Corp. And that's a simple process. And then once you're elected as an S Corp, there'll be tax savings forevermore.
And do you set up S Corps just for folks who want that from the get-go?
Yes, indeed.
All right.
You can help S Corp set up as well.
So pretty much, any size business,
that's right.
You're the guys to talk to.
Yes, that's right. And there's one other nuance I wanted to mention, and it's the requirement with the state of Ohio, and as far as I know, every state in the union, which is that there is a person of record listed with the state. And it could be called a registered agent. It could be called a statutory agent. It could be called an organizational agent. Depends on the state. And in Ohio, the state calls it registered agent and statutory agent. And that is the person or entity that's on file public record. So if there's legal service, there's somebody that can receive the service. And so what we generally advise when it comes to all things government, less is more. Let's not disclose everything under the sun to the government. Let's not let everybody know our personal business. Let's keep public record as minimal as possible, because privacy really does provide tremendous protection. And what we're able to do with our clients is act as the registered agent. And so we offer that protection, giving our clients privacy. And as a result, nobody knows who owns the company. If they want to find out, they have to come through us first. And as an added benefit to that extra privacy, there's a lot of junk mail that comes. And so
you guys even handle junk mail,
exactly.
Huh?
So we're getting the junk mail and we're just throwing it out so you don't have to worry about it. And that's just an extra benefit with registered agent protection.
Nicholas, things being the way they are these days, I could get online and I could find a way to set up my own LCC.
Yes.
I could do my own S Corp. So what caution me on that. Why wouldn't I want to do that?
Yes, well, and I would even flip it and say, if you feel confident, do it. Absolutely. And at the end of the day, this is something anybody can do. Our clients usually come to us when A, they don't have the time, B, they don't want to figure out, C, they don't want to go through the government details on the website because you could make a mistake. And having done hundreds of these, there's been a few times when we made a mistake, and it's kind of a bummer, but we easily rectified it and we recognized the mistake.
Okay.
And so if you're feeling confident to do it yourself, fantastic. I'll tell you what, we had a plumber come in and fix a leak, and it was super simple. And also, I don't want to figure it out. I don't want to spend hours on
You could have done
YouTube.
it, but if you don't get that right, you won't have a wet floor, right?
And then there's that, like, all right, it's solved. And then a week later, and so that could happen with the LC S Corp as well, where you got to set up, you think, and it accidentally turns out you didn't, and then there's issues down the road.
Oh boy.
So again, if you don't want to deal with the time, if you want the peace of mind, and you don't want to navigate the government details, that's when you would give us a call.